Hello guys and welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Once again I'm Greg and I'm going to be giving you my predicted lineup plus a little bit of injury news ahead of this weekend's game against Brighton. Now, after a very successful but quite injury-ridden midweek game, we're waiting on the fate of Allen, Richarlison and John Joe Kenny, who all had to go off through injury. Ancelotti has told us the news, and it seems like there's a bit of a correlation between how much we need the player, positive correlation between how much we need the player and how soon they will recover. So John Joe Kenny looks to be about 4 weeks away. For Allen, he should be back after the international break and available for the game against Liverpool. And for Richarlison, he's going to undergo a late fitness test to see if he can play tomorrow. For the sake of this video, I'll say he passes it just on a 50-50 judgment call. The bit of news that's come as a bit of a surprise is that Andre Gomes will not be in contention tomorrow. I don't know if he's picked up a bit of a knock, he's not feeling himself, but it means we're going to have to make some changes to the midfield that has started every game since this season started and since our form has picked up so much. I'd normally say, why change a winning formula, but this week we have to. So let's go sort of position by position, see who might get a look in and what might change. Pickford in goal picks itself at this point in the season. We don't have a backup. We're not looking to bring in a backup, so it's going to be Pickford. The back line pretty much picks itself as well here. Due to the injuries we have, obviously with Kenny out, Coleman's our only right back. Sorry. I've been very impressed with his start to the season. He's playing and acting like a captain should, and I'd love to see him get some silverware as the captain this season. He's really authoritative in that back line at the moment, and he looks a bit more like his old self. The only possible change in this back line might be to see Dean at centre back and Nkunku at left back, like we've been seeing in the cup so successfully. Dean has been a very confident centre-back. He's looked worryingly comfortable at times there. But I think he's better used at left-back, where he can really go to the byline whilst Dominic Calvert-Lewin's being told just to stay in the box and get his goals. He's great at just getting up the field, getting the balls in and letting Richarlison come in and pick up the scraps. So I think we'll see our most strong back line with Mina and Keane as the centre-back partnership. And then at left back, I think we'll see Luca Dean. Then the midfield is where things get a little bit more tricky. Obviously, with Allen out, we've got to pick a partner for Doucouré, who will almost definitely play with the lack of midfielders we have here. And I feel we might see Delph. It looks like Ancelotti quite likes Delph. He's come back from injury and he's come back straight into the team. He's almost got a fast track into the first team. A lot of players are waiting, having to take their time, competing for spaces, and Delph seems to have just taken the travelator alongside them and started to be able to compete and get into the lineup. So I think we'll see Delph and Doucouré, with maybe Doucouré having to focus more on his defensive duties than playing that sort of box-to-box role he's been playing with Allen, just anchoring and letting him have that freedom. Then just in front of Doucouré and Delph, obviously we don't have Andre Gomes either. So we have possibly one of the most hotly contested positions. Ancelotti seems to have a real, a brain, and he has seen what other managers haven't, that Iwobi and Bernard both play best at number 10. So they're both in contention, but the man I think pips them is Gylfi Sigurdsson, who has started the season so much more confidently than he ended the last one. And it's nice to see, because we all know there's a quality player in there, and what we've been not angry about but frustrated about for so long is that he just doesn't look like he's using the quality, whether it's through laziness as he was getting accused of, or just a real funk that he was stuck in. But he's really started the season well, and it's great to see him using that quality. So I think he might sneak into that number 10 space, given that freedom that Andre Gomes has had. Maybe a little less so with Allen not being there. The other thing we might see as well is James coming into that number 10 and a player going out right. But for me, again, it's as close as we can keep to that winning recipe that we've had so far would be great. Spoiler then, out on the right, I think James. He's one of the two players one of the two wide players we've seen this season, him and Richarlison, who have linked up superbly. Obviously, where others have come in and out, they haven't built up that chemistry. But James and Richarlison, where James has this way of pulling players in, bringing players across the pitch to try and nullify his threat, leaving Richarlison open for a perfectly weighted pass. I think that's a real style we're seeing in Everton. We've had to go through seasons not having any kind of identity of attacking build-up player. Now we're starting to see these movements, and you can go, oh, that's an Everton attack, that is. And that's possibly the best example is the James bait, switch, bring it inside, Calvert-Lewin finishes. And it's just great to see him playing for the club. The only question maybe is he going to be fit enough after playing 90 minutes and not having the option to come off through injuries in the Cup? But after this, we've got the international break, so it'd be good to see him start, and then Iwobi, maybe Walcott, if he's anywhere near the team, can get back out there later on in the game if he gets tired. On the left, then, of course, Richarlison, permitting a fitness test. If not, it'll probably be a Bernardo and Iwobi. But for the sake of keeping our strongest team and the prediction, let's keep him in there. Then up front, who else could it be but the man on fire, Dominic Calvert-Lewin? He really looked on the upturn last season. Dropped off after the restart, but how incredibly has he started this season? It's fantastic to see. You can't leave the man out of the team just because whilst his confidence is this high, he's got an England call-up. You want to see him get as much game time as possible, score as many goals as possible. And with Moise Kean looking like he might be on the way out, we're not left with any other alternatives, really. We've just got to pray Calvert-Lewin can stay fit and stay firing, which he certainly is at the moment. The only other question I've forgotten as I've gone through this team, and I've just looked back at centre-back, I believe even if we were to pull off a crazy late swoop today and bring Godfrey in, I don't think he'd be legible to play in the team tomorrow anyway. So that's my team. Pickford in goal, Coleman, Mina, Keane and Luca Dean. A midfield of Decore and Delph with Sigurdsson in that number 10 role, getting a little bit more freedom. And then a front line of James, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Obviously, injury permitting with Richarlison. How do you guys feel about that? What would you change? Tom Davies, should he be in instead of Delph? Iwobi or Bernard? Do you think Bernard's played so well against Fleetwood, hasn't had a chance since? Maybe he deserves to be put in that role and given that opportunity in the first team? Would you bring James inside and have Bernard or Iwobi out? Would you maybe have Nkunku at left back and Dean at centre back? Let me know. Put your team in the comments. Let's hope for a result, and I'll see you guys next time.